Today, is Francisco Lindor the most underrated player in the New York Mets, let alone the entire league? Well, a new report asked that question, and we're going to break it all down on this edition of Mets Digest. So what's going on, everybody? My name is Flobo Boyce, and I am locked in with you to your number one source for everything orange and blue, Mets Digest. Thanks so much for making this part of your Mets podcasting diet. I understand there's so many places on the planet where you can get that news and updates, but the fact you're rocking here with me means the world. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make sure we are a community. We're like-minded Mets fans. Want to make sure that you belong. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of that 87.8%, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Look, I don't know about you, but I'm on cloud 8.5. Not 9, but 8.5. 2 walk-offs at 3 games against the Baltimore Orioles, a team that's also in playoff contention of their own. And we rolled through one of the most difficult stretches of the season. People have said this weekend is basically going to be the season in a nutshell. I would add the 3 days after that. So we're going to San Diego to play 4 games. Then we're going over to Arizona to play 3. The 2 teams are in the playoff race, and then we go over to Chicago to handle the White Sox. And, well, the White Sox aren't necessarily playoff contenders. In fact, they're on pace to lose all the games, probably the worst team in the modern era. We just have a nasty habit of losing to bad teams, so you can understand if I'm a little upset. But that is not about that. There is no stretch, there is no playoff run without Francisco Lindor. Oh my goodness. I gotta be honest with you, I have it right here in my lap. I'm gonna show you my jersey. Not very professional, but I paid a whole lot of money for this jersey, so I'm gonna show it to you. Francisco Lindor has been an absolute boon for the New York Mets when it's coming over in 2021. There are people out there, the so-called Lindorks, who say he's not worth his contract, he's not this, he's not that, and I say, phooey. The man is elite, and he proves it year in and year out. And what was interesting to me, because I felt like I was kind of alone on an island by saying that, I do feel like there's a bit of a shift. There's a bit of a change of the perception of what Francisco Lindor means to the team. In fact, we always were saying when Pete Alonso was selected to be our sole representative in an All-Star game, why hasn't Lindor got selected? That's always a good sign. Frankly, we failed him. We should have got more votes out there. But really, it was a report from ESPN and Jeff Passan that really put things in perspective. So let me take a step back. At Wednesday's game at Citi Field, the one where Jesse Winker walked it all off, Francisco Lindor hit a home run. That's 25 home runs on top of 25 stolen bases. And while that's cool, that is a feat unto itself, it doesn't say the whole story because it is the 3rd time a shortstop has done that. And that is elite company. On pace to be 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases for the season. Only Bobby Witt really is in that conversation. So Jeff Passan, who's kind of like one of the most trusted sources in the space of our feature over at ESPN, which I do recommend you read it in its entirety, especially if you're a fan of the Mets, fan of Francisco Lindor, and fan of a particular work ethic. We'll get to you in a bit. So here's a little excerpt from that. I want to break it down, this passage in particular. Jeff Passan writes, Francisco Lindor, he plays with shortstop with grace and flash and consistency, with precious metal gloves, 2 gold, 1 platinum to show for it. In baseball history, only 4 shortstops finished their first 10 years with more Baseball Reference wins above replacement or WAR than Lindor's, 48. Archie Vaughn, Alex Rodriguez, Cal Ripken Jr., and Pee Wee Reese. Now, I'll be honest with you, most Pop fans know A-Rod, they know Cal Ripken Jr. A-Rod is the guy who gets booed, even to this day, if you're not a Yankee fan. Cal Ripken Jr. is the Iron Man. I think the longevity and being able to play every day helped out his case. As a fan of the Brooklyn Cyclones, I know Pee Wee Reese because one of the mascots of the Cyclones team is a seagull named Pee Wee, which is the younger companion to the other seagull named Sandy. So I know that. But I had to go look up who Archie Vaughn was. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a baseball fan, but I guess I'm not into deep cuts quite like that. And that, to me, puts things in perspective. Let's take a look at the stats here. 25 home runs is only part of the story, right? The on-base percentage is pretty solid as well. But I want to divert your attention to the bottom right of that graphic. No, not his height, even though, wow, he's a lot bigger in that stat sheet than he would be in person. He's only 30 years old. This is age 30 season, but the slugging percentage is .477. I am not sure if you're a big sabermetrics person, if you're watching this. I'm getting into the deepness of it all, but I do know what slugging means. And typically, a rule of thumb is that .450 is considered above average. .500 puts you in that power slugger elite conversation. I mean, of course, not one stat does that. You can interpret that at will. But at .477, it is no wonder that Lindor is in that conversation. But why does he not get the respect that other people do? And I've talked about the Lindor haters, which I never understood. Explain to me. If you're watching this right now, let me know in the comments below. If you're not a fan of Lindor, let me know. Because here's a guy that comes to work every day. In fact, that same ESPN article from Jeff Passan talks about how Mendoza has to tell him, hey, look, I want to arrest you. And he goes, no, I post up every day. He calls it posting up. That is something he's done. He's played every single game. Him and Alonso have played every single game this season. And that is something only 6 players in Major League Baseball does. Shows up every day, has leading stats across the board, not just plate appearances, not just stolen bases, but the combination of power and speed. Here's somebody that loves his family. Here's somebody that brings his wife and kids to the games. Here's somebody that makes sure that if things are going wrong, like if a certain pitcher, which we won't name, throws a glove into the crowd and really causes a scene, that there's going to be some consequences in the form of a player meeting, but still has them haters. I never quite understood why, especially now he's having, by any metric, an MVP type season. In fact, the only roadblock I would say is Shohei Ohtani, which isn't really quite a fair comparison because Shohei Ohtani is the only person, or only DH, I should say, to win MVP as DH. But those were the seasons where he was a two-way player. As it is right now, Shohei is a really good batter, but that's all he's doing, and Shohei will always be in the conversation for the MVP of the season. But also wanted to show you this one. This is actually a quote from the captain, my captain himself. He's not really an official captain, but he's a captain to me. I'm proud to be a New York Met, Lindor said, but my job is not done. I haven't done what it takes to win. We haven't won the World Series, so I don't want to say I've done my job to the ultimate end. I feel like not until the day we win, when I have the opportunity to give the trophy to Steve or Alex, which is pretty cool that he talks about Steve and Alex there, and say we did it, the job is not done, referring to Alex Cohen. So here is somebody that shows up every day, does the job, is proud to be a New York Met. And trust me, it is not... it's not easy being a fan of our ball club. It's not easy being a Metropolitan, especially when all your friends only tags you when the Mets do something really silly, like that weird Little League play we did against Baltimore earlier this week. So someone's proud to be in New York, proud to be the star face of a franchise, able to be a team leader to lead team meetings when things are going awry, has the numbers to back it up, is on pace to do 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases, and to be fair, is in the conversation for the best shortstops in the league, if not the entire division. So, I mean, yeah, I know there's some LA De La Cruz fans out there, but let's be real. Like if I had to pick a team, if I had to draft somebody, I'll pick Lindor over LA any day of the week. What is the haters all about? I don't have no idea. And the fact is, the All-Star thing is only one part of the situation. I know everyone points to the money, about the value. Hey, he signed a 10-year deal, $341 million. That's way too much to give a shortstop. But you know what? You can't ask for anyone to have that kind of production that Francisco Lindor has. And don't call him Frankie. You don't know him like that. You don't know him like how I do. I call him captain. I think he should be the captain, although I don't think the Mets will actually do that. But hey, you let me know in the comments below. Are you a fan of Lindor? You should. If you're not, let me know why. This guy right here should be hitting those MVP down ballot votes, if not getting in the conversation outright. Everything is going his way, and he can find a way to navigate this team through the troubled waters of the end of August into September. If we can get into the playoffs, if you can get into the NLCS, if you can get to the World Series, then that legacy is already solidified. Hey, you reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for checking out this one. Tell a friend, share this if you can, if you're able to. It would mean so much to me. I'll be back next time. And of course, until that next time, it's LGM to the bitter end.